Okay, guess what we're gonna do? See this rock right here? We're gonna paint it to look like a hamburger. That's right. That's what we're gonna do. I got my paint already picked out. There's my basic palette. Let me tell you what it is. It is yellow ochre. I don't know if you can see that. It is what's this one called? Cadmium yellow. So I have two kinds of yellows there. And several browns. I have this one, which is burnt umber, and I have burnt sienna, a little tiny tube, burnt sienna. I have raw sienna, and I have titanium white. And it's acrylic. And there's the palette there. I'm a little sloppy with the white. It's spilled over into it, but I'm not worried about it. Now, what kind of brushes am I going to use? I don't know. I'm just going to pick one. Here's one. Looks like good enough, huh? So get a little water on it. And let's start with the raw sienna. I'll put a little bit on my brush. Can you see it? There. Is it in the picture? I'm going to paint it. Alright, so let's paint this is the bun basically. And then we're going to paint the hamburger. We're going to put some sesame seeds on it. The only thing you have to do is wait for it to dry before you get the bottom. Obviously, because, you know, otherwise it's going to be messy. It's messy anyway. Painting a surface like this is kind of messy. I don't know if you can see it. Is the camera aimed in the right place? Let me move the camera. Can you see it? There it is. Okay. Yeah, try to get it so you can see it. And I did one of these a couple weeks ago, and it came out really cool looking. So let me just scrub it on there. Now, what I want to do, try to get as much as I can without getting my fingers in the way. And what I want to do is I don't want to keep it all one color, so I'm just going to add a little bit of what was that I just dipped into? The yellow ochre, I think. Yeah, yellow ochre. So you see what I did? I put a little yellow ochre in there for the edges. You know how the bun has a slightly different color on the side in the real world, in the real buns, the real hamburger buns. All right, so it's a very subtle difference. I don't know if the camera's picking up on it. Add some more of that raw umber there. I'm going to add a little bit of this, what is this one called? This one is called burnt sienna. This one's burnt sienna. It's a little bit darker. So a little bit of the toasty part of the bun. You know, you don't want to make it all one color. It's not a wall. You are literally using the rock as a canvas. You see it? Yeah, just gotta smooth it out like a real hamburger bun. Okay. I'm gonna add a little bit of white to the edges here. Lighten it up a bit. I think the bottom of a hamburger bun is usually a little bit whiter than the top, but I have to wait till it dries before I. Can you see it? I have to wait till it dries before I turn it over. So I'll turn the camera off, and we'll wait for it to dry, and then we'll be right back after this station identification or something like that. Let's see. Let me get as much as I can. One more, a little bit. See, it already looks like a hamburger bun, doesn't it? It already looks like one. All right. Very cool. All right. I'll be back in a minute after I turn off the camera. Well, it won't be a minute for you. It'll be a micro second. All right. So there's the top of the bun. Can you see it? Top of the bun. And now I'll put my brush in the water so that doesn't dry, and I'll be back. Alright, I think it's dry now. I left it in the sun. Now let's do the bottom side. See, the top sort of looks like a bun. Not yet. It's not there yet, but it's starting to. So back to my paint. There's my palette. And got another brush because the first one is wet. I don't want it too wet. So now I'm just doing the bottom, and I hope you can see it. You could do the same thing I did to the top, with the exception of adding a little bit of white to it, maybe some yellow too. We'll see what it needs to look like the bottom of a bun, a hamburger bun. And then later on, we're gonna after it's done, we're gonna go to McDonald's and buy an actual hamburger, and we'll get the paper from it so that we can wrap it up. Because we're going to give it as a gift to somebody. I don't want to say who, because it's a surprise. But anyway, so now you see that I got that. What is that color again? That's called raw sienna. That's with the raw sienna color, and it's still wet, so I'm going to add a little bit of white to it. See the white on the brush? You see it? Add it to the bottom. Make it look a little less toasty than the top. Can you see that? It's very subtle. I don't know if it's picking up on the camera. It's a very subtle difference. And there we go. Now the bottom is done. And that took no time at all. But I want to make the sides a little bit whiter also, just a little bit. So then I'm going to let it dry again, so I'll turn off the camera again and let it dry, and then we'll be back. Then we add the hamburger. That's the fun part, right? And the lettuce and the cheese and the sesame seeds. Yeah. Get that white on the side there. There we go. I'm going to smooth it out so it looks like a real bun. That looks good. A little bit more white, like right in the middle there. Alright, now we're going to let that dry. Try to brush away all the brush strokes so you don't see the brush strokes so easily. What's cool about it is when you hand it to somebody, they think it's a real hamburger, and it's very heavy because it's a very heavy rock. Okay, now I'm going to let it dry, so let me turn off the camera again. Alright, so now we have the bun all painted. Let's get another brush and let's put the hamburger in there. The hamburger is pretty easy, actually. So the color for the hamburger is burnt umber, brown in other words. So use some burnt umber, and I just want to dab it on the side. I don't want to brush it too much. I just want to create the look of a hamburger sticking out from the bun, and go all the way around it. Make it a thin hamburger, you know, like McDonald's has thin hamburgers, and kind of make it lumpy, a little bit lumpy. Don't forget we got to leave room for cheese and lettuce. We don't. I might try tomato. I don't know, or ketchup. Tomato and ketchup is kind of the same thing, right? It's just red. But if you want to make it look like a hamburger, you do whatever you think. You know, you can use a. Can you see it? You can use a reference photo, of course, or you could actually be sitting with a real hamburger, and then use that as a reference, a model. And one thing I do want to tell you is that painting on a rock, the paint doesn't always adhere perfectly to the rock. It'll especially this acrylic, so it's got a plasticness to it, and it will peel off. So the person you give it to, you have to tell them, you know, you don't really want to wash this thing. Not that the water will dissolve the paint. It's what'll happen is when you rub it, it'll pull off the paint from the rock. You're painting a slick surface, basically. I painted a glove compartment one time from a car, and it was very slick. So I had to sand it down, and it worked pretty good. I don't know that I could sand down a rock. I guess I could if I had the right sandpaper. All right, so now it already looks like a hamburger, doesn't it? All right, so we getting there. See how close, see how good, how quick that is? You just dab it on there. I know what I'm going to try. I don't have any red in there yet. I'm going to try some of this. What is this color called again? This is called yellow ochre. I'm going to just try a little yellow ochre and see if that gives the look of cheese a little bit. It looks more like mustard, I think. Let me use some of the regular yellow, the dark. Let me make a piece of cheese to kind of hang it off the edge. Just the corner of the cheese hanging down off the top of the burger. That looks pretty good, right? And you're painting it just like you would have a picture, so you have to put highlights and stuff on it, which we'll do that after it dries. I'll add a few highlights. Oh, that looks pretty good. That looks like cheese now. Okay, yeah, I think the yellow ochre mixed with the bright yellow kind of helped it out a lot. So just keep going here. Now I might need to go back and paint the burger part. I might be putting too much yellow on here. It's okay. It's all paint. All can be painted over. And you see, it's already looking like a hamburger. You know? What do you think? Yeah. Yeah, I'm definitely going to need to add some more burger color, some more brown, or burnt umber, brown, whatever. Okay, let's just go all the way around here. Since I started, might as well finish it. There's a bird on my bird feeder over there. You can't see him. I don't think you can see him, can you? He's looking at me. He's wondering where the food is. I didn't put food out because there was squirrels getting in our attic, so I had to stop putting food out for the birds. All right, now let's go back to that brown. Let's give some more. Let's put some more burger on there. Let's put some more burger on that bun. Make that burger a little thicker. Yeah, it's coming. See? Now this piece over here where I had the cheese flopping over. Let me get a new brush so I can work that a little better. I use this little tiny brush. Just get that piece of cheese that's flopping over. Yeah, see, I'm doing wet on wet. Not a good idea, but it'll dry. I'm going to turn the camera off again. Give it time to dry, and then we'll be back to add some of the. There we go. The cheese is melting. Let's put some melted cheese on this side too. Get some bright yellow. Yeah, that looks like melted cheese. That looks like a hamburger already, doesn't it? All right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to set it aside again, let it dry, turn off the camera, and then we'll be back. We're almost done. Okay, I think we're ready for the next part. But right now, it looks like a hamburger. We still need the sesame seeds on top, and we still need something red in there, and maybe a little bit of green. So let's just try something here. I'll get a small brush. This tiny little brush here. And I put some, I put two kinds of red in here. I put vermilion, this one, and then I put crimson red, which is kind of a blood red, I guess you would say. I put that onto my my nifty little plastic palette, and not sure how this is going to work. I don't know if it's going to look like ketchup or a tomato. Maybe a little bit of both. I don't know. Yeah, a little bit of ketchup there. See. Now that was the crimson red. Now this is the vermilion. Let's see if we like that one. I think I like the crimson red better. That looks more like ketchup, which I think is what we want, is ketchup here. So I'll just keep going around the bun. Doesn't have to be everywhere. The ketchup's coming through a little bit, like it does on a real hamburger. And And then maybe I'll put a little bit of green to create the effect of lettuce, if I can. And you notice I'm not worried about it because, do you worry about it? When you put ketchup on a hamburger, do you worry that it looks perfect? If you do, you might be Monk. Did you watch that show, Monk? So I'm just putting ketchup all around it, and just about made it already. Doesn't take long to do the circumference of the burger. I'll go back to the brown, and I'll put some more of that yellow there. I think I put some ketchup on the outside of the cheese. There we go. That looks pretty good. That looks like a hamburger. Now, what I want to do, I'm going to go ahead and put the sesame seeds on there. So for sesame seeds, I'm going to use the dark titanium white. This is not titanium white. It's dark. It almost looks beige-ish. So I just put a little bit on my palette, and we're just going to put it on top of the bun. Can you see the bun? Is it there? Okay, just little dots, little things like that, just to create the look of sesame seeds. Gotta be careful not to make the brush touch the bun too hard. Just little dots here and there. Give it the illusion of sesame seeds. And then you will have a hamburger ready to go. Hamburguesa. Right? You see it? Is it starting to look like it to you? What do you think? Put a lot of them on there. I'll just dab them on there. I've got to be careful not to make them too big. Yeah. Now the thing about if you were painting a picture of a hamburger, every time you did a seed, you'd probably want to do a shadow next to it, because the seed would create some kind of a shadow. I don't know if I'm daring enough to do that, but I'm going to give it a shot. If I don't like it, I can always undo it. Undo. It's a computer term, right? Come undo. Alright, there we go. What do you think? Looks good, right? Like a hamburger? Looks good enough to eat. Right? Looks like a hamburger you're ready to eat. I'm going to try that idea with the little bit of shadow. I'm thinking this isn't going to work, but it's not going to work. It's just too... Yeah, it's just... Gotta get that brown. Just a little bit, maybe. Maybe it'll be good on just a few of them. Because like when you're painting grass, you don't paint every single blade of grass. You just paint a few of them, or a couple of them, 100 of them maybe. There we go. Yeah, it's working. Little tiny shadows next to the sesame seeds. Give them a little bit of a 3D look. There. Alright, now let's examine it and see if we think it looks like a hamburger. What do you think? Okay, now what I want to do is I want to let everything dry, because now I'm going to cover it, coat it with a glossy coat. So let's put this down. Alright, now let's take one more step, and we're going to put this on it. This is called High Gloss Varnish. It is an acrylic varnish, so it doesn't have any of that smell to it, but it is also water-based, and so it's also, it's also got to be careful. You can't really wash it, but it'll give it a little shine. So what I'm going to do with this, I'm just going to pour this right on it. Just drip it on there, and then I'm going to spread it around with the brush, and then when it dries, it'll be a nice shiny hamburger, and voila, we have something good enough, or something that looks good enough to eat. And what we're going to do, Robert and I are going to go to McDonald's, put some more of that, go to McDonald's. Whoa, it's going all over the place. Yeah, you can be real generous with this stuff. Actually, it's probably better to do several coats of this. But you know me, I'm a sloppy overdoer. So, all right. So I'm just coating it. Try to get it real gently so I don't pull that paint off of that rock. And then, just like before, I have to wait for the top to dry and then the bottom to dry. So I'll do the bottom with the camera turned off, and then I'll come back and show you the finished hamburger. Okay? All right then. Getting hungry? Are you getting hungry? All right. Okay, we are ready to go to McDonald's now to put the wrapper on it. And there's the finished hamburger. Now just don't want to confuse it with a real hamburger because it'll break your teeth. All right. Let me see if it looks good going into my mouth. What do you think? looks good enough to eat, right? All right. Thank you for watching. Subscribe, like, and all the other things you do on these videos.